Page 3 is a really good practice for your IA because there are pretty open problems here. Let's look first at number 5. They're not giving you the frequency table here. They're giving you the data. So it says 50 people were asked how often they traveled by train each month, and these are the results. They give you a bunch of different numbers, one from each person. Obviously, there's 50 pieces of data because it's 50 people. Organize this information in a grouped frequency table. Grouped frequency table means that we're going to have intervals, ranges of numbers, like buckets that we're going to put these numbers into. So it's not going to be like, we're not going to number these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. We're going to put them in groups like 1 to 5 or 6 to 10, things like that. And the groups are going to be the same size. How do we figure out a good size for the group? Well, let's see. What if we found the smallest value, for example, I think 2 might be the smallest value, and find the largest value, which may be 80? Do you see any that are bigger than 80? Looks like 80 might be the biggest. Let's assume that we got numbers from about 1 to 80 or 1 to 100, okay? If we have numbers from 1 to 100, maybe we could divide those into tens. That would be kind of a convenient unit to divide it in, right? Let's see if our graph paper has, yeah, our graph paper is big enough for 10, dividing by tens. So we're going to divide by tens. So like, for example, the first one we're going to put 1 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 10. The next one's going to be 11 through 20. Next one's going to be 21 to 30, etc. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start figuring out how many of these go into each box. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark which ones go in the bucket 1 through 10. So that would be this, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like 8. So I'm going to put 8 here. I'm going to put it in blue since I marked those blue. Then I'm going to see which ones go into 11 through 20. So let's see. Oh, I forgot about 10. Look at that. 10. Oops. 10. There's one more there. Are there any other 10s? No. So I need to change my 8 to a 9. Okay. Oh my God. 9. Too big. Okay. And then now we're going to look for the numbers from 11 through 20. We're gonna color those yellow. 11 through 20. So we got 16, 14, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Looks like 9. I'm going to write that in yellow. 9. And then so on. So you keep going through and doing that until you get finally to 100. So I'm going to stop the recording for a second, and I'm going to do that, and I'll come back. So I went through, I marked all the 1 through 10s blue, I marked all the 11 through 20s yellow, and so on, and I calculated how many of each, and I got something that I think is right because it adds up to 50, which is the total, right? And then here I'm just going to put the titles of the data. So here it's number of times on train. And then here's the frequency. Okay, and then so we're going to write this out here too. We're going to put number of times on train. And then here we're just going to have the frequency. Okay? And we're going to mark the x-axis. And remember, when we mark the x-axis, we actually mark the borders. So, like, this first border is going to be 0, 0.5 because our left border it's going to be for the range 1 to 10, right? And then the next region is going to be 11 through 20. So here we're going to put 0.5, and here we're going to put 10.5 because 10.5 is halfway between 10 and 11. Then we put 20.5, 30.5, 40.5, 50.5, 60.5, and 70.5, and 80.5. And then we go back here, and then we notice that, why do we put 0.5 here? Well, it's just to maintain the size of each one of these. Each one of these intervals is 10 wide, so to maintain the size of 10, we put 0.5 there. Okay? And then for the frequencies, we'll just put the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? And then we're just going to mark each one of the histogram bars. So, like the first bar is going to be 9, right? And that's here. The next bar is going to be 11. It's going to be 9 also. Of course, you don't need to mark these colored. I'm just doing it to show you which one corresponds to what. And then 6, 3, and you might have chosen a different interval size. You might have chosen an interval size of 8 or something, and that's okay. 6, 5, and 5. Okay? And so, you know, what this really is going to look like on your test, for example, is you're gonna draw the outline of these bars as rectangles, kind of like that. Okay? With a ruler, preferably, and make sure you have titles like that, and make sure that your x-axis is labeled on the lines and not in between the lines. Okay? Let's move on to the next one. The next one is very similar, except it says Yudi decided to count the number of weeds in 1 square meter of grass. He chose 80 plots of 1 square meter. The results of each square meter are as follows. And we might be able to do a similar division here. Let's see what the biggest number and the smallest number are. Looks like the smallest number might be like 5. Don't know if there's anything smaller than that. And the biggest number that I see is about 74. Anybody see one bigger than that? Okay, so we could do the same thing just to be, you know, I think it's easier to divide by 10 if you have a bunch of data like this. You wouldn't divide by 10s if you had like a range from like 1 through 20. Then, of course, 10s would be ridiculous. But if you have a wide range of numbers like this between about 0 and 80, then 10 seems like it would be a good number. Okay, so we're going to make a similar frequency table to the one we just did above. Okay, so we're going to have the numbers like 1 less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 10, 11, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and then here we're going to have 21, 31, 41, 51, 61, 71, and in here we can put x is less than or equal to, less than or equal to. Okay? And this would be number of weeds, and this would be frequency, and then we just need to count up like we did before. So I'm going to do that, but you don't have to watch me do it. So just one correction here. The data, there's only 60, there's not 80. Okay, so if you counted them up and you're not getting the right answer, that's why. So my frequency table has intervals from 1 through 10, 11 through 20, 21 through 30, all the way down to 71 through 80. I didn't have enough space to write less than or equal to x, less than or equal to whatever, so I only did it in the top one and the bottom one. Sorry about that. And then I put the frequencies, so the number of total numbers between 1 through 10 was 6, etc. And it adds up to 60, so I'm pretty sure it's okay. Now I'm going to make my frequency table. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label the axes. And the first axis is going to be number of weeds. That'll be the x-axis. And then I'm going to put a label here on the y-axis, which is going to be frequency. And then I'm going to put divisions on the x-axis, which are similar to the ones above. So, like, for example, the first interval is 1 through 10. Second interval is 11 through 20. So the number that's halfway between 10 and 11 is 10.5. So I'm going to put 10.5 here. Here I'm going to put 0.5. Here I'm going to put 20.5, 30.5, 40.5, 50.5, 60.5, 70.5, and 80.5. And here on the frequency axis, I'm going to put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I hope I don't run out. Oh, I do run out of space. Look at that. I need to have numbers as big as 17. So I can't number by 1. I've got to number by 2. So I'm going to put 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Okay, and then I'm going to start making my bars. The first one, I'm going to go up 6 here. Oops. Go up 6. And then the second one, I'm going to go up 17. Halfway there. Next one's 12. Next one is 9. Halfway there. This next one is 6. Next one is 6. Next one is 2. And next one is 2. Okay, and then I'm going to just... Oh, the next one, this was 17, right? So let's see. This one actually 17, 12, this one's 9. Okay, so that's how it works. Not too bad, right? So on your IA, it would be more like this, where you have your data. You're going to decide the appropriate intervals to divide it in, and then you're going to graph them on the frequency table or histogram.